Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Nugget Junction. My name is Cranston. I'm your host. This is going to be a very interesting storytelling type of podcast. And as you view on for the viewers and listen on for those who are listening to the audio version of this podcast, you will agree with me later on that it will be well worth your listenership. We have a very interesting guest with us, and we are going to take a short road trip through his life. Here at Nugget Junction, the main point of the podcast is so that we could hear some interesting life and times type of stories for our invited guests.
That's it.
And they are high achievers in their own right, just like my hostess who's seated next to me today.
That's it. High achievers. Pop
High
the collar,
achieving,
pop
eh?
the collar, yes.
I mean, anyone who puts on a Fendi is probably achieving something.
I must do, you know. I'm Linda Mitheo. Welcome to another episode of Nugget Junction. As Cranston did mention, today we have a very special guest. He is in this industry that we're sitting at today.
Exactly, the
We can put it
multimedia
that way,
industry.
multimedia, production, and so on. And I think the best description would be, is it documentary? He's in docos, if I can put it that way.
We're busy speaking about this person in third person like he's not sitting on the couch today. Elmi, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you guys for having
to
me.
see
Thank
you.
you.
The last time I saw you, it was at a book launch last year, I think,
Yes.
for A. Davis Chubali. Yeah, exactly, and his co-authors.
He's an amazing a credit to our community to have him and share with him some of his achievement in the community.
for sure.
Yeah.
He is. Luckily for me, he's one of my business partners as well
Awesome.
in a language learning
Yeah.
online platform,
Yeah.
which you had approached us several, I think, weeks and weeks ago.
Exactly.
About a storytelling idea.
Yeah, exactly.
I was on that Zoom call.
Oh, was you?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was.
Yeah, we were.
I was muted. Yeah, but go ahead.
Were you
Ah,
in a reason why you were muted, or?
I was in a noisy place.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah.
then I had said that, oh yeah, I do know Elmi. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what you had brought to the table was very interesting.
Yeah, I guess when I was approached to take part at that Zoom is I was just telling them about some other potential languages that we could add to the discussion. Yeah.
For the benefit of the viewers and listeners, the platform we're talking about is called African Language Academy, and it's basically a language learning platform where we teach African languages to diaspora children as the primary target.
Nice.
However, it's open to partners and so on who might want to learn a new language, and anyone else, of course, if you would like to. Because I've always wanted to learn Swahili at some point.
Well, how come you haven't approached me?
Well, because I have the whole school, so I thought,
So you already got somebody teaching
yeah, I'll
Swahili?
just get high on my own supply.
We can discuss Lingala.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
can do, I don't know, tribal languages? Is that a thing?
Where are you from again? Like, which part of Congo Brazzaville is it?
No, Kinshasa.
The north.
Kinshasa City Zone, yeah.
We've gone through this
Right.
before.
I've self-censored myself.
I think self-censor yourself, and let's focus on our guest today. Well, Elmi, for those who do not know you, Cranston mentioned that he does know you. I myself have never met you. This is the first time we're meeting today. And we got into chatting as to who you are, and can you let us know how you got here? And again, when we say, how did you get here, we're not meaning this couch, but how did you get here to be who you are professionally?
Well, my name is Abdurrahim Elmi, so a lot of people do know me as AKA Elmi. It's much easier to pronounce it, but probably all my family who knows me to call me my full name, Abdurrahim.
Nice.
I'm originally from Somalia.
Nice.
Moved to UK when I was quite a young boy at the age of 15 years old, and my journey started there. I struggled when I moved to UK as a young boy. Obviously, I didn't speak the language. I struggled with accommodation. So I lived most of my teenage years in the street in London.
Oh,
So,
Which part of East London or
well, I lived in central London when I was
Central
quite a young boy. Yeah. So it's I found it very hard for me to find accommodation there. So I slept in various locations under tunnels for a good 2 years of my life in the street.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah. So and it took. And I used to sleep in one of the tunnels in King's Cross in central London there, and in Bond Street there. And one day, an Egyptian guy saw me sleeping in one of the tunnels there, and me and some other young kids, he said to them, "Listen, if you guys come and clean my youth center that I have in Hackney, which is like northwest London. He said, I will give you guys a space to sleep there. And we couldn't believe it. Somebody who could actually give us a space there.
Sure.
Yeah, like
And from that day, I saw the work that he was doing, and it just captivated me.
wow.
I saw the way he was working with the young kids, and I said, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
It touched
I'm still
you.
I'm still
touched
doing it.
something in you.
It left a big mark on my life, saying, if he is in that age could help young kids, who am
Yeah.
I? And he was my idol, the person I look up to.
Oh,
He passed away just over 15 years ago, but
condolences.
he left a massive mark in my, and it shaped the person that you see right here. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is the reason for this platform.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
do try to put Africans within the diaspora
yeah,
in a platform where they can showcase
Yeah.
their experiences,
Yeah.
because you never know who's watching out there
yeah,
that may be moved by
Yeah.
such stories
Yeah.
and also want to reach out and help other people.
definitely. And I work with
Um,
extremely vulnerable young boys who do refer to us because through the work we do, and every part of my journey I could see on them. Being a vulnerable,
Wow.
being not having the
Mm.
voice to to talk and to get inspiration. And we've community work is like a lot of people do know it. There's no ego in it. There's no money in it.
Exactly.
It's just you do it for
coming
the
from
the heart of it. And and that's really why I created Roots TV when I came here to Australia.
Before we get to Roots TV, it is a road trip. So right now
Let's
you've
get to
done
the-
you've
Oh, let's
ditched
get
the
to
car
it.
and you've
Let's not
taken the
skip.
plane.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
fly back.
Sorry, I
up
just
the
took the
car.
express one.
Exactly.
You
just
took the
went-
express. But
So-
in that,
Yeah, here you are, sort of inspired. Fast forward a few months or years into that inspiration. Did you come straight to Australia from there, or?
Well, no, actually, I lived in UK. I've only moved to Australia in 2012, actually.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
right.
Yeah. So most of my life, I was in UK.
Mm.
so how did you become homeless if you had moved from Somaliland to the UK? I'm assuming you moved with your family.
No, I was by myself.
How did you come about just as a young boy, just getting up and going?
Just getting the visa to come to Africa was to come to Europe was a big task.
Definitely.
And my mom told me your uncle lives in Cardiff, and I had no idea where was Cardiff until I arrived in Heathrow.
Oh,
And and I only had like I
So-
don't know $20 in me, and the guy at the migration told me, listen, that money doesn't even take you to London. If
Wow.
you, yeah.
Yeah.
Look where
Yeah,
you now,
yeah.
years later,
Yeah.
amazing.
So he said, listen, there's few places that we could give you a space there. And one of them was the Salvation Army. So my first day, it was January, and it was snowing, I remember, and arrived at Salvation Army, and they told me, listen, we don't have a space for you, but you could
Wow.
sleep you could speak. So they provide for me a small cabinet outside. And
Right.
so that's my journey started there, not sleeping in places. And
Sleeping rough.
I was sleeping rough. I
Wow.
could create a cardboard in 5 minutes easily.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's what life throws at you. You
Yeah.
just learn how to
Yeah.
swim, isn't it?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So from that background as a young boy, how did you go to school? How
Yes.
did you develop your life thereafter?
So the moment I moved into that youth center, he decided to to kind of like adopt me and so he could be my mentor. So I stayed with his family,
Nice.
and
So he was a young lad himself.
no, I mean that time he was in his 30s. The guy,
Married,
yeah,
with
yeah,
children,
yeah.
his own
So
family.
yeah, so he managed to find me a space. So I moved to a hotel, I remember, but I was always under his supervision also. And until he moved to Liverpool, I've done my GCSE over there. I moved to
You done your G?
yeah, so it's kind of like an A level, similar to year
Right.
12 here.
All right.
Yeah, so I moved to Liverpool, done my college there, and then I've done my degree in Liverpool University there.
Were you working
What
at
did
this
you,
time?
was-
what did you
yeah.
study? Before we get to the work, what did you study?
I've
at
done
Liverpool?
marketing.
Marketing?
Yeah,
Oh,
so I
cool.
got bachelor degree in marketing,
Oh, there
and
you go.
yeah, and
Interesting.
yeah, so still benefit me until now though.
Yeah.
but Marketing right now is completely different than what I've done.
From starting as a young
Oh my
lad.
God, so
Yeah.
different. Yeah, but
Yeah.
Back
yeah,
then.
yeah.
Cool. So you graduated, and then where?
And then I moved back to London, and a year after that, I get married.
Nice. Found the love of your life.
Yes,
Amazing.
yeah, and then got a job with the BBC as a researcher.
Oh, wow.
And then kind of like everything just evolved. Then I started.
Which part of the BBC were you researching? Like BBC Africa?
So we
or
were
was
doing
it nature?
mainly London affairs. So I was part of doing freelancing documentaries for various organizations also. But the focus in London was mainly crimes in London. And we used to focus on crimes in North London, part of London. So so that kind of like really led me to different direction to it.
If I may ask, so during that time of your research, or when you're exposed to that Crimes of London thing, because when we watch Crimes of London, it would be on Stan TV or Netflix or something, and then there's like Sherlock Holmes, and then there's like a demon or something.
Yeah.
What was, like, in your opinion, one of the most grotesque research findings during that?
So we've done a doco called Bang Bang in the Manor, and that reflected the crime within sadly black on black community crimes in London. And we spoke with families, mothers who become the victims of all of that. So our stories wasn't only reflecting on the impact the impact of crime, but in different narratives. So we're talking about loved ones and families. That time was really getting out of control, 10 times worse than what we see here.
Wow.
Even we done a doco in Liverpool, and in Manchester, in a place called Moss Side in Manchester.
Right.
So we used to go into different locations reflecting it. But yeah, so that was really, I don't know, I hope I answer your questions, but this is kind of like really some of them.
Which one was your, if you were to remember, if you were to quickly think back, which research finding was like the most appalling for you? So if you're saying those, you say you're dealing with the second circle of the perpetrator, so you're not directly dealing with the perpetrator, you're dealing with the fallout of the perpetration.
And also we focus on police brutality also. Lack of transparency between the police in London and the way they're trying to build a relationship with the local African community. Something that we're proud here in Australia to have, the relationship here between the WA police and is amazing comparing to where it was London before. Yeah, so this
Were
kind
you ever a victim of that police brutality?
Not necessarily police brutality, but I was a victim, obviously, of racism, and it's I could tell you so many stories there, but it's.
Well, we have time.
I'm sure we do.
Yeah, you see, racism is not somebody just calling you're a black bee and all of that.
No,
it's more sinister. It's the smug in the face, and I'm so linguistic on it.
Oh wow!
So yeah, it's so it's interesting.
For the record, for the viewers and listeners, I should say something. On the issue of racism, you haven't yet, by the way, answered my question. But on the issue of racism,
really? Okay.
The question was, what did you find that was so appalling for you during that research time? But before we get there,
crime, like
like
murder,
one of the different types of crime. Which one was the one that stuck out to him and said, "How dare that person do something like this?"
There was a story where a young boy from Somalia stabbed another young boy from he was from Ethiopia also. And what really shook me is how young the two victims were.
Yes.
And how brutal was the murder.
Right.
But also what really shook me is the lack of response from the African community to this kind of crimes.
Or revolt, yeah.
They shift it under the table because everything it will lead to. So that really, I hope that answered the question, because that really, really resonates with me. And I felt that I need to address it openly. So we've done like an open community discussion. And I found that my community were reluctant even to talk about this kind of issue do happen. The same thing with mental health within the African community. We found it very, the stigma, I think it's improved a lot. But in my time, I remember when we addressed because quite new, it was something new.
Yeah.
So we tried to speak with the local imam in the mosque. Right. We tried to reach out to the elders.
Are you a Muslim?
I am.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Continue.
Yeah.
Yeah, the imam.
Yeah. So we spoke with the local imam. We spoke with the local to address that issue, and still the imam or elders don't have the resources or then acknowledge. The imam is busy. I mean, I engage with local priest here and local imam here until now from the work we do. Yeah. And the expectation of the imam or the priest is so huge here in the community, because they do see him as a marriage counselor, youth workers, and the poor guy just trying to run, and the poor guy just trying to run his own faith place.
Yes,
so expectation of the imam is still high here, because that's our reference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Our
If there's a
community
marriage
reference.
conflict, we go to our local
Yeah.
imam. And if there's
Mm.
any issue, we go to.
I think that religiosity is kind of designed that way, that there's a beacon of what is good and what is right,
Yeah.
and then you go to that one for reference. But in saying that, I'll quickly go back to the statement I had mentioned about racism real quick before we go on, before I hand it over to her. Yes, there are many faces of racism for sure. And it's not necessarily a contrast of colors, because you can also be racist against your own kind.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And that's another conversation for another day. But I agree with Lil Wayne, who's a R&B rapper, but I've never
Hip hop, I think.
actually experienced racism firsthand.
Okay.
Yes.
And I've been to several, countries that have the opportunity to be racist,
Exactly.
Yeah.
have the propensity for racism, but directly in my face, in my here and now, I up to now, in over 17 years, have not.
And I think this is what I just mentioned earlier: is racism is not somebody calling you.
Yes,
there.
no,
It's
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
different. Maybe you don't experience it physically by calling you
In
names,
all
but
its
there's
spaces, shapes, and sizes.
Yeah.
Honestly, I haven't. I'll put it this way: I haven't sat down to myself and thought, "Oh my God, that was so racist of that person."
Mm.
In any shape, manner, or form, whether it's on the
Obviously-
bus, the train, work,
No, obviously because you
promotion.
haven't, it hasn't faced you straight
I haven't yet.
straight on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
You would
So
have known otherwise. Now.
Trust me, I believe I would have known.
Can I chime in?
Yes.
Hi, me.
Yeah.
The
Um,
voice.
Sorry.
We talk about racism. There's an elder that says this. Racism is not a one-on-one thing. It's a group thing. It's a group that design a system to benefit that same group and exploit another group.
Oh, spot on. I like that. Never heard
Sounds
of
like
it in
slavery.
that
Wait,
regard.
that sounds like
but
employment.
it makes a lot. Sounds like
Yeah, so
Employment.
actually what he's actually saying is this. Racism is across the board.
Yes.
It affects religion,
Yes.
it affects sex.
Yes.
We all know what is going on today. It affects law.
Yes.
It affects our social connection with each other.
Of course.
It affects every facet of life.
So this is the group that you're
Yeah.
referring to. It's a group thing instilled on one to another.
Exactly. I just want to add
Yeah.
one thing to what you said about
Sure.
racism is the nature of my work is I work with, like I said to you, a lot of young people, and
Yes.
mainly they're from the multicultural community.
Yes.
And one thing I keep telling them from the let go, by the time they refer to us from the Department of the Child Protection,
Yeah.
from the WA Police, don't use racism as a platform for your own struggle. Use it to uplift you.
Or
Make sure.
How
Make sure.
about just don't use racism at all?
No, I mean when you confront racism, don't say, "Oh, I couldn't get the job because of my color." Do your part.
Yeah. Exactly.
We live in a country that give us so many opportunities.
Exactly.
That racism should not even come to there. Does
Exactly.
it exist? Yes, it does exist. I mean,
Yeah,
it
for
does
sure.
exist in our own community and
Yeah,
your own
exactly.
community.
Yeah.
But don't use it as a chip on your shoulder, saying I couldn't do this because
Well,
of that.
Crankston did.
Yeah,
Well, I couldn't have-
Crankston did. He did let us know of a story of
How
when
dare
he
you,
went on
Crankston.
an interview and he had to update his resume to reflect his Christian white name.
Yeah,
yeah.
that was.
If that's not an example of somehow
Well, that's positive
withholding
racism, you
your
think?
blackness.
Well, I didn't withhold my. So
And you're saying
Elmi-
you have experience.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
But however,
you
though,
experienced it
Okay.
through
for
his
your
own nature.
for your benefit,
was
and for
just-
the listeners who haven't heard that episode, it was several episodes ago. We were talking about when you come here as a diaspora person, and then say you apply for a job, and then they call, say it's shortlisting the names of the people who come to the next, whether it's the interview or something. What I was saying, or what the general consensus was on that conversation, was that there's a higher likelihood of you being called if you got like English names than Omar Abdul, for example, rather
Yeah.
than Joseph Mwansa,
Yeah.
and then in that to that effect, I used to use my previous name, which I dumped. I haven't dumped it, but I just
Because you got the job, is
relegated
it?
It's in the under the
I
rug somewhere.
relegated it, and then
Um,
so they used to call me on, and once or twice someone would actually say that, "Oh my God, we thought you were Dutch or something," because
Yeah.
of the way the
Oh,
names
wow.
are spelled.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I would have, we were joking. We were having some banter on the podcast that
But it's amazing that you said that I never experienced racism. Yeah, that was a very clear.
I don't think so.
Somehow.
So
Okay,
when
maybe
someone
not
says, "Oh my God, that
brutally.
person was racist against me," it's usually from a negative connotation.
I mean, it is not.
Is it still racism?
Yes.
If I get,
Yes. I mean, at the end of the day,
I'm
it
a
is
black
not,
dude and I get a better job. How is that racist?
Yeah, but I've been there. I know I could relate to you. I played around with my resume.
Yeah.
My full name is Abdurrahim Osman Elmi. I remember I was
Yeah.
applying for a job. I had no chance of getting a job back. I remember in UK. So I've changed my name into Anthony Hamilton. And within a week, I received like 2 offers.
Oh,
The same
dear.
jobs. And just trial. I know
Yeah.
because obviously I cannot turn up saying, "Hi guys, my name is Anthony and I need to," but just to play the game along, just to see how far it goes. So what I'm saying is like there's a certain consequences behind it, but I understand why you've done it.
Yeah. But I haven't. My main point is I haven't necessarily gone home and sat down with myself and felt
Exactly.
that
So-
the system is working against me.
No. That's not what we're
Exactly.
saying.
So
No, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the thing. I mean, that was just a light joke that I
Yeah.
thought
Yeah,
to
it was
bring up.
like I
Yeah,
said.
yeah,
But
yeah.
obviously,
banter.
the racism you're talking about was obviously more of a brutal nature, would you say? More of
Brutal. Yeah, I mean,
a hate.
I encountered it physically. I was beaten up in the street.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
too
what
much.
I've experienced, but again, you look at the person that right now, I could sit here and use all the excuses
Exactly.
and to demise me, to destroy me, but I
Exactly.
use it to uplift me.
Exactly. Amen to that.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
go ahead.
From a young lad from Somaliland, moved to the UK, slept in the streets, picked yourself up, done a decent education, which got you into the film industry.
Yeah.
Would you say the position you were, or the position you applied at the BBC as your first job or initial job, or even who you are, because when you did start the program, you mentioned that you work with youth
Yeah.
and you work with troubled
Yeah.
youth and people of the community. Do you think those two intertwined?
So huge, definitely.
To
I felt from a young age, I'm a storyteller. I don't know
Yes.
why. I don't know how.
because you've got a story to tell.
Yeah. And every time I used to sit down with the kids who were like my age, and my mom was a storyteller. My mom passed away a couple of years ago, and one thing I regret is to use her voice, or I was hoping to do a doco about her own journey.
Right.
And maybe this is a shout out for all our seniors in the community, is to, if we lose a senior in our community, like we lose a village.
You do.
Yeah. And my mom was an amazing storyteller, and I wish I had the opportunity to write a memoir about her.
Nice.
So there was something about me saying that, Elmi, you're a storyteller, and
Yes.
Somalia in general is well known for its poetry,
Oh,
and
wow.
Nomadic poetry. So we
Yeah.
have a very known.
Very,
Yeah.
Oh,
So
is that right?
yeah,
very poetic.
very poetic.
Do we have any authors you can throw out there?
Well, there's Hadrawi, they call him the Shakespeare of Africa, who sadly passed away last year.
Oh,
and-
Why do they have to call him the Shakespeare of Africa? Can't he be called his name of Africa?
Well, you could talk to them, not me. So I know.
I like
know.
where
Yeah,
Cranston's going
yeah,
there.
yeah. But I know where you're going
Okay.
with that. Okay, yeah. So we could call him something
It
else,
makes
but yeah,
sense,
you know,
we
his
need to
name.
I know
have
it
our
makes sense.
own.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Our
And that
own
comes from
honor.
lack of education, lack of
Yes.
awareness. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
yeah. So yeah, that's really me, and hopefully I love everywhere I see. I want to tell a story, and
So when you're telling stories, you're telling them through documentary, correct?
yeah,
So do you want to let us know about your documentary journey?
yeah.
How you got that started? Well, you've obviously mentioned the BBC.
So even back
Were
in
you given stories to produce?
So yeah, so
Or
I
would
was
you create your-
so I was
your
freelancer.
research your
One
own?
thing about documentary makers and film stories or producers are they're activists.
Yes.
I'm a from young age when I was in uni, I used to write. I used to film the rally against the British National Party, and I used to film them with my old camera. And I used to just and as an activist, you just need to project the story for the audience and they make their own judgment. But yeah, from young age, even from university, I developed that passion. So I've done some courses there. I've done filmmaking production diploma. So I've graduated. I've done some local studies, all that. And BBC really gave me a platform to further my skills.
Is that how Roots TV came about?
No, Roots TV came.
So again, I'll
Okay.
take the conversation a bit
Yeah.
back. Road trip. So let's go back to the car. You've taken another plane. Maybe he just likes planes.
I love
So,
it.
say for example, you're here. You've kind of transitioned from your life in England. How did you get into Australia? And then quickly, let's get to the part where we get to Roots TV.
Sure.
Yeah.
So in 2008, I mean, by that time I was coming to the end of my my work with the BBC. I became a freelancer documentary maker, doing various contracts with various groups. And in 2011, the family, there was a lot of issues happening personally. I don't really go into it, but we decided really in 2011 to move to Australia. Actually, my wife was raised here in Australia.
Oh.
And so
Maybe I know her. What's her name?
Oh, okay. So I'll tell you after
Shout
that.
out.
Yeah.
Let's give us some shout out.
Yeah.
Give the family a shout out.
Yeah, I'll give them later on.
Right,
Yeah,
so
they know
good.
me. Yeah. So actually I came here in '95 and I get married.
Oh, very nice.
Then I took my
95.
wife back to UK.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So in 2012,
So initially when you first came,
yeah,
your mission was
to
broadcasting, or were you just coming to hang out?
when to 95.
When you initially
Okay,
came in,
a year
before
before
you
that,
took her
yeah,
back
a
on.
year before that, my wife came. That time wasn't my wife. She wasn't my wife. She came to London for a wedding.
Nice.
And I said, man, this is gonna be the person I'm gonna marry.
Nice.
And she said, I live in Perth. I said, where the hell is Perth?
Nice.
I had no idea where Perth was. I don't know. I never thought I'm gonna move to Australia. I'm gonna go to Australia.
Nice.
But love conquers all, I guess.
Nice.
So the year after that, I decided to come to Perth. Do the traditional wedding, meet her fathers and everything. And
Is she Muslim as well?
yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah. And we decided, and she came with me to live with me in London since '95.
Okay. No, this story is sounding way too familiar. You gotta tell me your wife's name.
Okay, her name is Iman.
How did I guess?
How
knew
do you
it.
even know that you
Oh my
get
God.
it?
I came to
Hold
your
on.
traditional
You guys
wedding.
came to my.
Yes. Oh my God.
You came to my
Look at
wedding.
life.
You came to
I'm
my
thinking
wedding.
This story sounds way familiar. Iman and
Iman.
the sister Ayan and all the family.
Are we allowed to?
Hello.
Yeah.
Can we
Can
do a
banter
little
it up.
private
Yeah, do it.
personal
Yeah,
thing
go
now?
You came
for
to
it.
with your sister.
It's me.
Klassen, can you leave us alone now? Can we?
I'm taking a break right now. I think you all can just.
You
cannot
now we're getting
believe this.
personal,
Podcast.
people. We're getting personal.
She danced in my wedding, for God's sake. Come on.
Can you even dance?
Oh my God, I still
How
got
do
the
you do?
photos.
Are you
in my
serious?
album.
That was me.
When you said 95, I'm like, hey, no, this sounds like my era. When you said London and then you picked her, you came to
Yeah.
marry her and then you took her back.
Yeah.
I'm like, bang, I gotta know this lady. Iman, what's
Iman.
up, my girl? How you doing? Long time. Oh my God.
This is such a small world.
Small
It
world.
is.
So hang on. So you moved back to Perth when?
In 2012.
Wow, that
So-
was quite a long stay.
Yeah.
in
So we had
London
3
in
kids
the
there.
UK.
We had 3 kids there, and all the kids now they're grown up.
Oh wow,
And
amazing.
yeah, so we've 2012 and.
If you could lean into your mic.
Oh, amazing. Now I'm
too
like,
excited.
yo.
No,
now
but
you
this
know.
is
I wanna
it's the
see
family, for God's sake.
Exactly, for sure.
family.
There's a lot of history happening here. I
Okay,
can
now
tell.
that's why I didn't recognize you. This whole name.
My first name, Elmi.
Now
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Oh yeah, so
Elmi?
he was being
I don't know
racist
any
against
Elmi.
the old people. that
You are
know
being
him from-
racist against your people. You don't want to take your people's name. Is that what it was?
No, you can call me Abdurrahim, but I know.
Abdurrahim.
Yeah.
Now
Say
I
it.
see
Say
the
it. Say it, Klassen.
face.
Say it.
Abdullahim.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Maybe that-
wow.
is that
So
wrong
nice
way
to
of
see
saying
you.
it?
See you
Huh?
forever.
Is that correct? way
No,
of
it's not
saying?
correct.
How do you
Abdurrahim.
Abdullahim?
It's Abdurrahim. Probably after a few
Rahim.
drinks, you could say.
Rahim.
All right.
Rahim. Abdullah.
When we
Abdurrahim.
have that barman that's
Yeah,
elusive,
means the slave of the merciful.
Slave of the-
Abdurrahim.
Yeah,
the
slave of the merciful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
the slave of
Rahim
merciful.
means merciful.
Merciful.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
And you are merciful. It's
Oh,
like
thank
they
you.
gave you the name.
Yeah, actually, my
You know?
uncle called me. He said, this I can tell Abdurrahim will be a very merciful.
Wait,
Oh
but
my
then you
Lord.
can't say he's merciful if he's changed his name.
No.
So if he's Elmi, we need to determine.
No.
what that
Elmi is my
is.
surname.
Okay, understood.
Yeah, Elmi is my surname.
See, they say
Right.
they name you and you become
Yeah.
what
Your
they
name. What you've
name
been
you.
called.
You
Yeah.
become your name.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the line of work you do.
Yeah.
Is that not a merciful
Yeah.
type of duty
It
you do?
is, for sure. Community, helping out the
Community
work.
community and
Yeah,
being
tell us about that.
being
Yeah.
a community resource
I
in your
just
own way.
this is really speechless, to be honest. And,
Speechless. Oh my
And
lord.
you haven't changed.
I'm telling you.
Sorry.
no. I'm
Yeah.
a fly on the wall.
I love it.
You all can continue catching up with your history.
I am so taking your card before you leave.
We will.
Yeah. So I was just speaking to Elmi when we first started, before we started the podcast, and I was introducing myself because none of these gentlemen did.
Well,
basically,
element of surprise.
Yeah, basically.
We like that. We would like to surprise you.
No, I didn't want to come off rude either, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
when I was up in the restaurant and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But I did introduce myself and I let him know the
Exactly.
line of work that I was in compared to what I'm doing now. And he
Yeah.
wasn't sure who I am still.
Yeah.
So I had to, you know, pop that collar and be like,
Yeah,
the CEO of the
yeah.
joint, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so nice to see you again after
No, you
all
too.
those years.
Yeah.
Are you looking after my sister, eh?
We have definitely.
Oh my
yeah.
God, Iman,
Yeah.
she's gorgeous.
Yeah. Currently,
Yeah,
she's in
gorgeous
Africa.
lady. Oh, she's in Africa.
She's in Somaliland now. Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah,
Everything
so-
is going well with her?
Yeah, our daughter
With the
just
kids?
got married.
You're serious? Now you got children getting married?
Yeah, I've got.
Oh,
I've got.
it was just them getting
I've got.
married the other
Yeah,
day.
I've
Where
got.
does time go?
I've got 19, 21, and 24.
Yes, you would do.
What do you mean?
No,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
would do because
yeah.
obviously my elder sister's
Yeah, yeah.
children are also around
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
age. And that's when we all used to
Yeah,
hang
yeah.
out at the time, you know?
Yeah. So we're
Yeah.
just talking families now.
Yeah.
Again, a fly on the wall.
We
You
put
all
him on.
can-
We put him on the corner under the rug.
Yeah.
Beg your pardon. All right, let's unwind. Bring it
Let's recalibrate.
Let's bring
All
it
right.
back.
So Roots TV.
Yep.
How did we get to Roots TV? The reason I keep asking about that is because I believe, because that's when I sort of, my first interaction with you was
Yeah.
based around Roots TV and Sona Images and so on. You and I have done some projects together. Two of them I think that I call that were pretty interesting, and that's how I was first introduced to you by Jessica Bailey. And then, but the first place I physically saw you was in Fremantle at a Dr. Molapo book
No,
launch.
actually,
No?
maybe you're getting older, brother. Tell us where we met.
Oh dear.
Fremantle.
No, I told you, man.
It was earlier,
Unless it was
We met at the
Northbridge.
Ubuntu in Claremont at Harriet office shop.
Oh yes.
Exactly. Somebody give him drink.
Bantu. Yeah, this
He needs
barman, the
another
mythical
drink.
barman we haven't hired yet.
That's what we met.
Oh yeah, the Bantu
Yeah.
place in Claremont at her shop.
Yeah, and we've done a short
yeah,
interview
you were
with her.
doing- yes.
I was with Jessica. So we both of us walked into it. So this amazing woman, Harriet, big shout to her.
Harriet is
Yeah,
one of my
she's-
clients from you haven't yet met her.
Yeah.
Bantu fashion.
She does
wow,
quality
amazing.
clothing
yeah, she does
and
amazing.
Bantu
And I-
fashion.
Bantu
Amazing.
fashion. And I think now she moved into recruitment. I think.
Yes,
if I'm-
so
yeah.
she does.
Oh, that's
She's got
fantastic.
Bantu fashion, Bantu recruitment, and
Yeah.
Bantu homewares.
Yeah.
we
We should get her on the
basically
couch sometime.
branded all of those.
Definitely get her.
businesses.
Yeah,
Amazing
She's
woman
also
from
launching- I
Zambia.
don't know
Amazing.
whether I can say this on camera. If you will forgive me, Harriet, but she's also launching some brands in Africa. She's very excited to.
I'm not surprised. And
She's
yeah.
also going to get into rideshare. She's
Yeah.
getting into rideshare business in Africa.
Yeah.
Oh, is she
Yeah.
really? That is big stuff.
Yeah.
If they first heard this on this podcast, then yeah, I won't be sued. But yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
she's doing very well. I remember that day you were doing an interview with her.
We done an interview with
I was
her.
filming. I was planning to film a video with her on that day.
Yeah.
Because I was doing. If you go on my website for the viewers and listeners, scroll down to the bottom. One of the client testimonials is Bantu Agency.
Yeah.
Bantu Fashion at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. From
Now I
that
was
shop
passing
it came
around
out.
Claremont and I saw this woman having this beautiful
It's a
space
really
in Claremont.
fantastic shop,
And I
yeah.
said,
Oh,
can I come and do an
wow.
interview about you?
Claremont.
And yeah, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
amazing.
branded the whole storefront. And stuff. It was
Yeah.
really good. It was really, really good.
Yeah.
So is she still there?
No, I think she.
She's gone online
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Oh, she's
moved
online
offline.
now.
Yeah, she's online. Yeah.
Amazing. Oh,
I mean, to
great.
have a space there is really, it's a lot of money.
I
And yeah.
remember how we met. Then from then we went and then did the Perth July thing and so on
Yeah.
after that.
And then we done a few things also.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
Awesome.
So, but still, what got you into filming? What got you into documentaries, as opposed to maybe being a community leader or a social?
A social worker,
Social
yeah, a community
worker.
Yeah.
development officer
Yeah,
or something like
how
that.
did
Yeah,
you
Youth
go
worker.
I had so many combination with the documentary maker, youth worker, social worker, philanthropist, and all of that. But working for the BBC really uplifted my skills in terms of giving me the platform to go and develop more stories. And being a freelancer, it's really like I could not stop thinking about creating content.
Wow.
And I'm still
yeah.
doing it. So,
Right.
and recently coming from Africa for 2 months was another part of my life now. I'll be talking
We
about
need to
further.
talk about that.
Tell us about that.
Yeah.
I can't wait to tell you guys about it because there's
So
a
after
lot of
Roots
things
TV,
happening.
So viewers,
Amazing.
listeners,
Yeah.
it looks like Roots TV isn't happening. So we're going to skip that.
Yeah.
And
Now
then
we can still talk about
let's-
Roots TV. We can
Let's
quickly.
get to the
love to know
part
about that.
where you recently, for example, you keep referring to BBC, but aren't you doing some work for DW or something? Who are you?
That's recently. Yeah.
So
but
let's bring it to. So you're
Yeah.
coming fresh out of Africa recently.
yeah, but
went
I'll,
and-
I'll take you back, guys, to Roots
Yeah.
TV.
Okay, let's
So
do
when I
Roots
came to
TV.
Australia, I got a job working for a certain shire. I don't want to mention the name of it.
Okay.
And I said to myself, man, this is so much bureaucracy in this job.
Yes.
I couldn't. I was,
Way
and I was a project manager, and I couldn't be flexible because I cannot work with this organization. I can't, after 6
yeah.
months, I said, you know what? Let me take my risk and create a platform called Roots TV.
Right.
And a lot of people did not understand. Even
Love that.
my partner could not understand what you bringing creativity and filmmaking into prison.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
into prison.
Yeah, I mean, because I work in prison also. We do a lot of work in prison, in Bankshire prison.
Okay, let us know about that because
Yeah.
now
There's so much to
for the
unpack.
viewers, there's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
much to unpack. So when you say for the prison, the viewers wouldn't understand where this
Yeah,
is
so
coming
let's,
from.
let's zero down on Roots TV.
So Roots TV is a platform working with at-risk youth.
Okay.
And we engage them in filmmaking and storytelling.
Oh, nice.
Other organizations use sport,
Right.
but we use art and filmmaking production.
Amazing.
So when we get referrals from prison,
Right.
they have to complete 3 months programs with us,
Yes.
and we engage them in various local content that we
Yes,
create. All of
obviously,
our
yeah.
stories is driven by social issues.
And the reasoning behind this is
Yeah.
what? How did you decide to reach people in prison?
Because that's the nature of the work that I do. I'm passionate
Okay,
about.
how did you unveil Roots TV? What was your
Oh,
vision behind it?
For 2.5
Maybe I should
years.
rephrase the
So for
question.
2.5 years, I was going into schools, knocking in schools, saying, guys, I work with young people who feel that you feel a bit disengaged. And they said, okay, we've got a couple of young boys who are not attending schools. They're feeling a bit disconnected.
Yeah.
And I introduced Roots TV to them. I showed them how to do short films. And all of a sudden, my 2 students increased up to 7 in each school.
Wow. So you broke away from, television as
Yeah.
what is
Yeah.
known,
And,
mainstream,
yeah,
you did your own.
to focus into community platforms. And
love that.
yeah, so I used to go into schools and I work with kids. I feel that they're a bit disconnected from school mainstream.
Amazing.
So, from one school to another school until they found the value of the work I do. And they say, you know what, it's time to support this guy and see where it will take him. So yeah, for 3 years I had no financial support, and I was knocking in so many
Wow.
different platforms, working, trying to connect with so many organizations. And God is good. And after 3 years, things change, and I'm blessed to see that now we're doing very well. And we're opening a new branch in Melbourne now, and we're working around 12 schools currently at the moment.
Amen.
Yeah.
Good
That's-
job.
that's really good.
Congratulations.
Things are a bit difficult because of the lack of the funding, but it's all about really knocking doors and everything.
So, obviously you're still running Roots TV.
Yes, yeah. So I've got my own board now, and so after 10 years, I'm coming to the end of the organization now. We reach so many platforms, we change so many lives. We're blessed to have
Changed so many lives. I
yeah.
like that.
And we work with the voiceless. We work with a lot. There's a young boy that I work with. His name is his initial is T, and he's only about 12 years old. He was referred to me through the Department of Justice, and I walked to his home, and he said to me, "Hey, are you Elmi?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "Let me tell you a joke," and I didn't even step to the house yet, and he started telling me some jokes about Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle. And I said to him, you're such an amazing, talented boy. Why do you want to be a comedian? And do you know what he said? He said, Elmi, I want to be a comedian because I never saw my mother smile before.
Oh.
He said,
that's
one
sweet.
day he told that joke. He said, Mama, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Wow.
Yeah. And the only thing he does with us when we got contract, he hold the mic stand.
Yeah.
That's
Like
the
a-
only thing. And he's tiny young
gaffer
boy.
or
And
something.
and to have his name at the end of the credit.
Nice. He must be so
Yeah.
proud.
So we don't use the word disengage, and in our production we call different names. We call them sound engineers,
Yeah.
Nice.
DOPs. We call them producers.
Yes.
That give them an uplift
Yes.
opportunity.
Give him
Yeah,
a better
yeah,
status,
yeah.
so to speak.
And when we go into school, we showcase films that has been done by them.
Right.
So we just done a film last year called Bad Roads. It's about an African family she struggled with her son who's in trouble, who's troubled.
Yeah.
And it's been shown in over 38 schools so far nationwide.
All right.
Yeah,
Nice.
and you could
That's
watch it. It's called Bad Roads in
Bad
our
Roads.
yeah,
Bad
Bad Roads.
Roads.
Yeah,
Is it on
it's in
your
YouTube. Yeah, you can go to our Roots TV YouTube channel because we project some of our work there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
you're doing an amazing job
before
for
we
the
double
community.
down on the story after that, we'll take a short break.
Sure.
And then when we come back, viewers and listeners, we're going to get down to after Roots TV, rather during and after Roots TV, and how we
Yes.
get to where he is at and him coming back from a 4 or 5
Africa.
country visit.
Yep.
And he will tell us more about that. And then he will drop some nuggets about, in case you want to venture, if this story was inspiring for you and you want to venture into something related to what he's talking about or what we're doing, what we're trying to do as the Nugget Junction and the platform that we're trying to build, then you want to stay tuned so you can listen to some nuggets in the next few minutes. We'll be right back.
Let's take a break. Thanks, guys. Speak to you soon, yeah?